Hey, good morning, Trojans and Lions. So, today we're going to be thinking about point of view. You may be asking yourself what that is. It's a type of poetry. Before we jump into that, let's think about some of the things we already talked about. We talked about what a conversation poem could look like, a list poem, and even a story poem. When we study poems, there's something else that we should notice. Who is doing the talking? Most of the time, it's the poet that's talking, the author, right? But sometimes the poets will use the voice of somebody else. I'll give you an example. My nephew pretends he knows what his dog is thinking, and sometimes he talks in a funny dog voice. He'll go like, "Ruff, let's go for a walk." And then he kind of stops being himself and puts on the mask of a dog. Today I want to teach you that when you're experimenting with different kinds of poems, poets sometimes drop their own voice and take the voice of another person or thing. Instead of writing about something, you can write like if you were that thing. Some call that kind of poetry a mask poem because it's like if you're putting a mask on and then talking like that person or thing. Let's look at an example, okay? This example is called Waiting Room Fish. Like small orange birds, we watch you, watch us. We peek between plastic plants. We open wide for food flakes. We weave our tails, inviting you to join us for a swim. I bet many of you are thinking that this poet is wearing a fish mask. This person is talking in the voice of these orange clownfish. I bet you're thinking that this poet is really telling us what a orange clownfish in the aquarium is thinking. You're right. And by talking in the fish's voice, the author is kind of forcing us to look at things through the eyes of the fish, to think about what they're thinking about and what they're feeling. This poem did a really good job of helping you think how the fish will think. Poets give us these feelings on purpose. By writing through a mask, a poet can help readers understand different point of views. That's really important. So, let's look at an example, okay? If I were going to put a mask on and I wanted to be a clock, then I need to help my reader see the clock's point of view. What would a clock feel? How can I write a poem from the eyes and the point of view of a clock? Let's see if this one sounds good, okay? Clock poem. I spin my hands around my face. You look at me. Everyone looks at me. I know the time. Time to start. Time to stop. Time for lunch. Time for art. I spin my hands. Tick tock. Did you see how I put the mask of a clock on? I used the voice of a clock to help the reader consider what this clock is probably thinking, feeling. I use this poet's I use my poet eyes to see something ordinary, like a clock, in a special way. Writers, now that you had a chance to see what a poet does when they're pretending to be something else by wearing a mask, it's your turn to try it. One thing you can try is trying to be this old crayon. Okay? Study its paper, its peeling, its flattened tip. Think about the color. Think about what it's been used for. Pretend you are this crayon. Talk about your experiences, what you love and what you do. What are you afraid of? What do you think? Try it out in your writing. I can't wait to hear. And before you begin writing a second poem, read through the rest of your folder and think about who the speaker is in your different poems. Think about whether you have used point of view poetry or mask poetry, and if you haven't, try it out. Good luck, writers. When you're done, you can write your poem. You can share your poem with me on Seesaw. Okay?